with no side bitch. That was my other woman. That was my other woman. Let's get that corrected. No, it wasn't no side, nothing. That was my other woman. And that's just what it is. Period. So don't disrespect her like that. I'm sounding hard right now.
Yes.
Damn. You know what? Fuck it. I'm a man.
That's cool. I know that.
And I'm not acting. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I know you're talking about me being vulnerable, and I guess I'm not a vulnerable ass nigga. It's just what it is. I just turned 42.
Oh, well, happy. When was your birthday?
January the 4th.
Oh, okay. So you're
Capricorn.
Capricorn. Okay, yeah.
Nobody saw this moment coming. For years, Martell Holt stood in the center of controversy, surrounded by broken trust, public judgment, and endless arguments about who was really to blame. His name became tied to betrayal, heartbreak, and choices that changed multiple lives forever.
Of our lives, put some respect on it, because everything that you got now, you would not have touched anything if it would not have been us being friends to you and your family. That's why I don't like fake people.
Viewers watched him defend himself, explain himself, and sometimes even run from the weight of his own actions. But then, something shifted. This time, Martell wasn't yelling. He wasn't pointing fingers. He wasn't trying to flip the story. Instead, he sat there quietly, with a look that felt heavier than anything we'd seen before. And when he finally spoke, his words didn't sound rehearsed. They sounded tired, honest, almost painful. Because for the first time, Martell Holt wasn't trying to win an argument. He was trying to face the truth. And what he admitted shook everything people thought they knew about him. Not just as a husband, not just as a reality star, but as a man who had been running from himself for far too long.
In my relationship, to this day, we cool. We cordial, we still hang out, communicate, we talk on the phone. It's my friend girl, yeah.
To understand why this moment matters so much, we have to rewind back to the beginning, before the fame, before the cameras, and before everything fell apart. When L&MH Huntsville first introduced Martell Holt, he didn't appear as the villain many people later labeled him to be. He came onto the screen as a confident businessman with ambition written all over him. Alongside Melody, he looked like part of a modern Black power couple, two people building wealth, family, and dreams together. From the outside, their life looked solid. They worked together, raised children together, and spoke openly about unity and legacy. Many viewers admired them because they represented something rare, a couple growing together instead of apart.
It's the white flag a long time ago. I've been waving it, I even got off social media and I quieted down and wasn't saying anything, trying to, get on the good side or whatever. But I guess the quieter that I am.
Martell often presented himself as the protector, the provider, the man who believed strongly in traditional roles and leadership. He talked about responsibility, discipline, and building something that would last beyond him. But even back then, subtle cracks were forming. Small disagreements on the show hinted at deeper issues behind closed doors. Conversations about respect turned tense. Power struggles surfaced. And while the audience didn't know it yet, something was already unraveling. Because when the truth finally came out, it wasn't a brief mistake or a moment of weakness. It was a long-term affair, one that didn't just hurt feelings, but created permanent consequences. A secret relationship that lasted far longer than anyone imagined, eventually leading to the birth of a child outside his marriage. That revelation didn't just end a relationship, it detonated it. Melody's pain became impossible to hide. Viewers watched her struggle in real time, trying to stay composed while her world collapsed publicly. Her anger wasn't loud at first. It was quiet, controlled, and heartbreaking. The kind of pain that comes when betrayal isn't just emotional, but spiritual. Trust was gone. Safety was gone. The future they planned together disappeared overnight. And Martell? He didn't respond the way many expected. Instead of fully owning the damage, he often appeared defensive. At times, he seemed more focused on explaining himself than understanding the harm. Arguments escalated, conversations turned into battles, and every time viewers thought accountability was coming, it slipped away again. Slowly, the public narrative changed. Martell stopped being seen as a flawed man who made a mistake. He became the symbol of repeated disrespect. Fans accused him of gaslighting, of minimizing Melody's pain, of refusing to truly accept responsibility. Every episode added another layer to the frustration. But here's the twist. Behind the anger and the bravado, something else was happening, something viewers couldn't see yet. Because while the world was judging him loudly, Martell was quietly losing everything that once defined him. His marriage was gone, his family structure was broken, his reputation was damaged beyond repair, and the man who once stood confidently at the center of his life now seemed completely lost inside it. As seasons passed, the tension never fully faded. Even when the divorce was finalized, the emotional weight lingered. Co-parenting became complicated. Old wounds reopened constantly. Every interaction felt heavy with history. Yet Martell kept moving, posting online, appearing on camera, staying visible even as criticism followed him everywhere. What nobody expected was that the loudest struggle wasn't happening on television, it was happening inside him. And that internal battle reached a breaking point when Martell finally admitted something he had never said out loud before. During a recent appearance, something felt different from the moment he sat down. There was no dramatic buildup, no flashy statements, just silence, the kind that comes when someone is deciding whether to finally stop running. When he spoke, his voice wasn't defensive, it was cracked. Martell admitted that for years he blamed everyone except himself. He convinced himself that circumstances pushed him, that pressure shaped his choices, that misunderstanding fueled the fallout. But then he said something that stunned people. He said the real issue wasn't temptation, it was ego. He confessed that deep down he struggled with validation, the need to feel powerful, admired, and in control. He admitted that while he projected confidence outwardly, internally he felt insecure and incomplete. That need for approval didn't start with the affair. It existed long before it, quietly influencing his decisions without him realizing it. He explained that cheating wasn't about love or attraction, it was about filling a void he refused to acknowledge. And as he spoke, his words didn't sound like excuses, they sounded like realization. For the first time, Martell admitted that he didn't just betray Melody, he betrayed his children. He spoke about the guilt of knowing his actions reshaped their family forever, about moments he couldn't take back, about memories that now carried pain instead of peace. His voice trembled when he talked about being a father and realizing too late that pride had blinded him. He admitted that trying to appear strong kept him from being honest, that avoiding accountability only deepened the damage, that denial felt easier than admitting he was broken. And then came the moment that truly shifted everything. Martell said he finally accepted that the man he thought he was wasn't who he truly had been. That sentence hit hard because it wasn't about public image anymore, it was about identity. He shared that therapy forced him to confront uncomfortable truths, patterns of control, emotional avoidance, and fear of vulnerability, things he never learned how to face growing up, things he buried under confidence and authority. He acknowledged that he hurt people who loved him most, not because he didn't care, but because he didn't know how to show up properly. That admission didn't erase the past, but it reframed it. The reaction from those around him was mixed, and understandably so. Melody remained composed, careful not to confuse words with healing. She acknowledged the importance of honesty, but made it clear that apologies don't erase trauma. For her, peace came from distance, boundaries, and self-protection. Some cast members expressed cautious hope, saying growth can only begin once truth is accepted. Others questioned the timing, wondering whether this confession was motivated by reflection or reputation. And fans? They were completely divided. Social media exploded with opinions. Some praised him for finally saying what should have been said years ago. Others believed it was too late, that accountability after damage feels hollow. One viewer wrote that hearing him admit his flaws felt real for the first time. Another said growth doesn't begin when cameras are rolling. And honestly, both sides had a point. Because here's the reality nobody wants to admit. Growth isn't clean, healing isn't linear, and accountability doesn't automatically bring forgiveness. Martell's confession didn't make him a hero, but it did something else. It stripped away the performance. For once, he wasn't trying to control the narrative. He was admitting he lost control of himself. The emotional weight of that realization was visible, not dramatic, not theatrical, just heavy. And that's what made it uncomfortable to watch, because it forced viewers to see him not as a villain or a victim, but as a deeply flawed human being, facing the consequences of his own choices. The impact of that moment reached far beyond one conversation. It reopened conversations about accountability in relationships, about how ego quietly destroys love, about how silence and avoidance can hurt more than betrayal itself. It also reminded people that while forgiveness is personal, responsibility is mandatory. Martell didn't ask for sympathy. He asked for honesty from himself first. And that may be the biggest truth he's ever accepted. Still, questions remain. Can someone truly change after causing so much damage? Does self-awareness come too late when families are already broken? Can growth coexist with reality TV pressure? Those answers won't come from words. They'll come from behavior. Because if this moment means anything at all, it will show in how he parents, how he coexists, how he respects boundaries, and how he moves forward without trying to rewrite history. Redemption isn't about erasing the past, it's about refusing to repeat it. As the dust settles, Martell now stands at a crossroads he can't talk his way out of. The cameras will keep rolling, the opinions will keep coming, but the real test won't happen on screen. It will happen when nobody's watching, because growth is quiet, and accountability doesn't need applause. Whether this moment marks a beginning of a new chapter or simply another emotional moment remains to be seen. But one thing is certain, the truth he finally accepted can't be taken back. And sometimes, facing who you really are is harder than losing everything else. So now, the question isn't what Martell said, it's what he does next. Because in the world of reality television, and in real life, the most powerful transformation doesn't come from confession, it comes from consistency. And only time will tell whether this truth becomes his turning point or just another chapter in a story still unfolding.